part of shattering the stereotypes is showing up, right? Just showing up, and not saying, "Oh, well, I don't think this is for me," or "I don't think they want someone that looks like me there." Still show up.
Welcome to School Dance Stories. My name is Lauren Messina, and I'll be your host for today's episode. Today, we welcome School Dance founding member Robin Rhodes. From teaching yoga classes and dance history to leading us in a 30-day movement challenge and more, Robin has contributed so much to our community. Welcome to School Dance Stories, Robin. I'm so glad
Thank
to
you.
have you here. Thanks for coming on to chat with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Honored.
Dance was in you, quotes, long before you ever had access to it. Can
Mhm.
you take us back to a moment that you realized you finally had a place to express that part of yourself?
I grew up in the church, Church of God in Christ denomination, same denomination as the singer Lizzo. Matter of fact, make no other correlation other than that. And I was watching some television production of another church, and there was a dancer, and she had the streamers and the flowy fabric, and the choir singing, and she's dancing, and I legitimately looked at the screen and said, "Those people going straight to hell," because I was like, I'd never seen that before. I was in Jackson, Mississippi, and I was at Cathedral AME Zion Church, and they had their dance ministry come. I'd never seen this before, and they're in the aisle, and they were dancing to Fred Hammond's "You Are the Living Word." And I remember I had to stand up. Something about that just drew me in right in that moment. And I was thinking, "Oh, I could never do that. I could never dance in front of people in the aisle with my shoes off and people looking at my feet. I just couldn't do that." And the church, it was a large church at that time, had 40 ministries. And I was like, "Okay, what ministry should I join?" And one person said, "You should join," and it was called the Daughters of Miriam, Men of Judah. And they said, "You should join the Daughters of Miriam." I was like, "Really?" Okay, so I reached out, I was like, "Who's in charge of the ministry?" And they said, "We're having rehearsal tonight, you can come." And they were like, "Nice to meet you and everything, but we're not taking in new members till next year." And I have no idea why this came out of my mouth. I said, "Can I still come to your rehearsals?" And she looked at me and she goes, "Yeah." And she said she didn't even know why she said that, because she said, "I never do that." And she later said, she said, "It was just something I couldn't tell you no." And so she later sent me an email and said, "Okay, you can come to the rehearsals, but you can't be a distraction. You can't do." And I started, so for a year, I was like their laborer. "Do you need me to hold your shoes? Do you need me to play the music? Do you need me to, hang up your slip?" I did that for a year. And then when they finally had intake, I was there. And then it was just, like I said, it was just something just kept having this just trajectory in that direction. And um gosh, 2001, something like that. So, oh gosh, it's been a long time. So that's when I first felt the connection to dance, the first time I saw it actually happening in church during a worship service, where I didn't think anyone was going to hell for doing that. um so yeah, that was when I felt the connection, and that was as an adult.
You started dancing, as you mentioned, in your 30s and built like a whole
Mhm.
career from there.
Yeah.
What has starting later, or later, I should quote, taught you that you might not have learned otherwise? Like, how are you different
Mm.
because of when you started?
I did have to go in and be more observant, because I knew no one was going to look at me and say, "Oh yeah, she's a dancer. She can go right here," or "She can." It's like, no, I had to go in a different way to say, "I may not look like a dancer, but give me a chance. You might see something that you might appreciate." So it yeah, it taught me a different level of humility, and also being able to see things behind the scenes. Like that whole year that I spent serving in that ministry before I was allowed to dance in the ministry, I got to see a lot of things behind the scenes. Okay, this is where you should stand before your next number. Okay, make sure that you have your costume. Make sure that you have this. Make sure that you have the music. I had to really go, whoa, whoa, stop, wait, what's that? Um, Let me see, my first ballet class in my late 30s, Bellhaven University pirouettes, Bay, pas de bourrée, up, and then everyone else just caught on. And it was like, "Oh, whoa, 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 what's this?" So, having to know that, okay, this is gonna take me a little longer, but I didn't grow up doing it. So, yes, I think it maybe taught me a different level of humility and being able to start and take things maybe in slower paces.
Carving out space in a field that didn't always make room
Mhm.
for you. What has that journey looked like?
Well, I think part of shattering the stereotypes is showing up, right? Just showing up, and not saying, "Oh, well, I don't think this is for me," or "I don't think they want someone that looks like me there. Still show up. You know, you'd be surprised. I remember I cannot remember his name now. Andrew something, but anyway, he was a student at Belhaven, and I used to, back in, like, 2005 when I first started coming to dance concerts at Belhaven, and I just thought he was just such a magnificent dancer, and then one time, I think this was still gosh, was I a student? I don't think I was a student then either. There was one piece it was a community concert, the community dance concert, and I showed up, I had my paper and everything. I showed up and, you had to do the dress rehearsal and the tech rehearsal the day before, and I did it, and then when I saw him the next day, he comes up to me and he says, "When I saw you dance, God just moved past everything and touched my heart." And I'm looking at him going, "You saw something in me? You?" And I'm like, to myself, I mean, I would probably sound like a stalker. I'm like, "Dude, do you have any idea how many years I've been watching you dance, and you saw something in me?" So that for me, that shattered the stereotype somewhat. And I think that's part of carving out space for yourself, showing up to say, "I may not look like anyone else in this room, but I do believe I have something to bring into this room." And you just show up and be in the room. And you never know, you might touch someone who you've been looking at for years, looking up to someone as an aspiration to go, "Oh my goodness, that's such a magnificent dancer." And then boom, there, you've made a connection. I'm a crier, by the way.
So
So
am I.
yeah.
So am I.
Yeah, so that's good, that's good. And being at Bellhaven, sometimes it was difficult because sometimes I would be backstage watching some of the other dancers before me and going, "Oh, I shouldn't go out now," because they looked fabulous, and then I'd have someone afterwards tell me, "Oh, I was behind my dance was behind yours, and we were back there worshiping right before we went." I was like, "What?"
Mm,
And so, yeah, showing up year after year after year, just showing up.
wow. I commend you for doing that. Again, it's like it's
Oh,
a choice to do that every single time.
yeah.
And somehow you're able to take care of yourself and still have
Mm,
done that through the years. When I hear you talk about, like, showing up and just being present and in answer to, like, how to move through barriers, your answer
mm,
is sounds so simple, like, just be there, just be present and remain being there, even if there is a
right.
barrier to you being there, show up.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, and it's like, that's so profound and hard to do
Yeah,
too,
it
especially with
is, it is.
rejection, and I'm sure many people have come up to you and said comments like that maybe it feels worth it afterward because you hear that from someone and you're thinking that
Mm.
you're watching them and they're watching you saying
It's remarkable. I remember being at, I was a church, Assemblies of God denomination. They have this production every year. It's the Ebenezer Scrooge story, but it's told from a biblical standpoint. They had some series of dancers doing like ballroom dance.
Mm,
And there was this one dancer, every time she was out, we would make eye contact. I have because I actually thought it was a really amazing show. So I'm just grinning from ear to ear. And I don't know if I was cheering her up or if she was cheering me up, but every time she was out, we would make eye contact. And it was just like, I was just trying to
that's cool.
encourage her, "This looks really good. You all are doing a great job." Um, I probably couldn't pick her out of a lineup now, but for some reason, in that moment, for that night, she felt a connection that someone in the audience was being changed by what she was doing. So, yeah, so I hope in how I live and how I, communicate with others that be open to that. You never know whose
Mm,
life you're changing just by showing up.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. You also shared about choreography,
Mm.
and seeing choreography in your head, I think, something like that, or hearing
Yeah.
music. What does that feel like? Can you describe your
Oh,
process when you're inspired by a song, and do you record that?
yeah.
Do you write it down? What do you do? And are
Well,
you choreographing something soon?
oh gosh, yes. There's a song I have been working on. Oh my gosh. What year? 2015. Oh my goodness, it's been that long. No, 2016. Okay, I'll give 2006. It's Touch the Sky by Hillsong, the Willow Creek Global Leadership Summit. So at the begin which this is where the worship was coming from, and so I'm at a church that was live streaming it, and I had never heard this song before, and I'm sitting there, and this was the 2nd day of the summit, and the opening song was that. It was one of the singers at not at Hillsong, sorry, at Willow Creek was singing that song, and I was sitting there going, "Okay, I gotta find that song," and ever since then, there's been choreography in my head. I'm not quite sure what the barrier is, but that song is like at some point that will come out. That
Mm.
choreography, I can see the kneeling, I can see the leaping, I can see the twirling. The part where she says, "But I found heaven as love swept low." I mean, in my head, I see it every single time I listen to that song. When it's gonna come out, be manifest. So that's kind of the way I'll hear a song, and then right then it's like it just locks me in, and I'm like, "What was that?" And then I sometimes have to find the song, and then I can hear the choreography. Driving along no, I was actually in the passenger side, and the song comes on the radio. It's just it's like, someone actually said one time, it's like you're having a vision or like a visitation or something, and it's just kinda locked stuck right there, during that time. There was a song I
Mm.
had first heard, I think in, like, 1998. It was Fred Hammond's "No Weapon." I had been listening to that song for years and years and years and years. One night, I'm driving along, that song came on the radio, and I immediately saw a choreography for it. And it was like, "Okay, what just happened?" Now I'm trying to figure out why all these years had passed when saw and I took it to the director of our dance ministry and said, "I've got a vision for this song." And you can just see it. You can just see it. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could sing. I could sing it, but somehow it's just my brain just sees it, and it's just kind of it locks you in and doesn't let you go. I mean, so I wish I could move on for some of these songs. I mean, I was stuck on what's her name? Corin, what is her last name? Hawthorne's Speak the Name. I was stuck on that for a while till I finally got a chance to dance to it. Now I'm not stuck on it's like it's kind of sticks in you for a while, and then when you finally release it, it's like, okay, it's lifted. So yeah, it's a weird process. As to writing it down, I actually did have a not so much a conflict, but maybe a bit of aggression with someone one time who was dancing with me, and they wanted me to write down the choreography. They were like, "You probably should be writing this down," and I was like, "I don't do that." Now I know famous choreographers like what's her name, Tina Landon, who's choreographed for Janet Jackson and Paul Abdul, all the famous people. She writes that. She charts. I don't do that. So it's like that doesn't. So I don't write it down. It's just kind of sticks there, and then I move it. And there's some body modifications or something. Okay, I got to change that, or I have to slow that down a bit, or something like that. That's how it works. Weird.
That's neat. I love that. Do you do a lot of that for your program that you're in now?
Not yet. I'm getting
Not
there.
yet. Okay.
'Cause this is the first semester. You gotta take this class, this class, this class, this class. I was able to see their fall dance concert, which was the senior students. I guess it gets called something different at every university, but it was the seniors doing their showcasing their choreography for the
Ah, okay.
yeah. So
That
it
must
was
have been nice.
fabulous. It was in their black box theater. It was fabulous. So getting to see that, it's like, oh yeah, okay, okay, I can see this. I can see how this works, and I'd like to bring in maybe a different element, um, yeah, of maybe something more faith-based,
Mhm.
some more faith-based pieces. So I'd like to see. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, because I am new at this university, but I do want to eventually say, hey, how about we have a whole
Mhm.
showcase of worship songs one night for and see who comes.
Yes.
Right? Because this is, it's different from being, you and I both went to a Christian undergrad, so it's different being at a Christian undergrad than a secular, undergrad. But you never know who might come, who might say,
Right.
"Hey, that speaks to me. Hey, I share that faith. Hey, or even I don't share that faith, but I still want to participate."
Yeah, that could be really
Yeah,
cool. And
yeah,
you have experience, like, showing up and doing these things,
yeah. Right.
making things happen when it's not been
Yeah.
done before. Pioneering, I guess,
Yes.
is
Oh,
the
thank
way.
you. That's a cool
Um,
word.
I'm gonna skip forward a tiny bit. I have these, like, questions in order, but, this is on the concept of the choreography. You
Mhm.
mentioned, in a project, I will pronounce it wrong, probably, but Coram Deo,
Oh, Coram Deo, yeah.
Coram Deo.
No, that was right. You
uh,
pronounced it right.
so that concept, how has that shifted the way that you choose music or create
Mm,
choreography, or does that has that influenced, yeah, your ideas for
yeah.
this faith-based performance at the school,
Mhm.
or what
Yeah.
can you share about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, definitely, music choices, because again, I come from a, liturgical, Christian background where we only used one type of, well, non-secular music, right? And so I had a very, straight, it's either this or it's that, no in between. And then at some point when I was actually in seminary, we started talking about countries on the continent of Africa where, colonization has changed that some, but before that, they didn't have a separation between secular music and sacred music. There was no separation of the music of the dance styles. And so I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then the idea of Coram Deo came from writer Jamie K. Smith. He's a philosophy professor at Calvin University. It talks about Coram Deo means before the face of God. All of life is worship. And so then I started hearing different songs that I thought, okay, that's not necessarily a Christian song, but doesn't it still speak to worship in some aspect? One of them was, I know you're gonna laugh, that song "What You Won't Do for Love" by Bobby Caldwell from the '70s. What you won't do for love. Okay, I'm not gonna sing it. Definitely not a singer, but um, it was actually a remake done in 2000 something by Jessie Ware. Someone had posted it on Facebook or something, and I was just like, uh, again,
Yeah, I think the remake. I think I
stuck.
know the remake.
Yes. I was just like, "Oh my goodness, that's beautiful." And can't that be a love song to a person or a love song to God? Can it be both? So it was like that song, and then the song by, Corin, what is her name? Bailey Ray, I think her name is. She did a song called "Like a Star." And every time that song came on, I would cry. And it was just like, "Okay, what's going on? Why am I crying every time I hear this song?" It was so beautiful. And again, it's a love song, and I listened to the lyrics and studied the lyrics just like a star across my page, just like oil on my hands. I was like, "Okay, one of the symbols of the Holy Spirit is oil. Well, can't this mean the same?" So then I was like, "Whoa, you can use songs that are not sacred songs, secular songs for the same purpose within reason." And everyone has to make that decision for themselves as what that looks like. And so that's where the idea of Coram Deo, a full night of full production of songs like that,
Hmm,
but it's used for worship. I will have that one day. So when you see a production called Coram Deo, hey, that's what that is, before the face of God. So yeah, that's how choosing different songs, choreography, how all that might look. So
that's cool.
we'll see.
I think I'm about to get some mail here. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, this that whole thing you described feels like you're able to bring new meaning to things and find
Oh,
freedom in
wow.
things, and
Wow.
that openness that you talked about, like you talked about showing up but also just being open. And it sounds like that something that you brought into your own life with being able to find new meaning and using these songs for something
Mm.
maybe they weren't used for in that setting, finding like
Yeah,
a new
yeah.
frame. But it just makes me think too, like there's so many things in the arts that are pretty subjective, like pretty we
Yeah.
have our own intention as artists and we can frame things in a certain way,
Mhm,
but what
mhm.
people receive from them is also like sometimes just kind of what they receive based on their background and their
Yeah.
experience, so
Mhm.
there's that like kind of there's that fluid open space between the giver and the receiver, and it sounds like
Mhm. Oh, I like that.
you're able to make that open up even more in the context of a faith-based dance performance, which is really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Fluid open. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there's just like
Love that
something between
terminology.
what we're trying to give to people, if we're trying to give something or share a
Right,
message
right.
in our work,
Mhm.
and what they actually receive. And it's
Mhm.
neat to think that, like, when we show up and when we come with openness and availability,
Mhm.
like, as the people making the work, like
Mhm.
you, and the people coming
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
performance, like, there's this portal between us that
I like that, fluid,
connects
portal.
us, yeah, yeah.
Ah,
I
oh,
like
and
that.
Marlita Hill, her book
Yes,
Defying
yes.
Discord, that helped a lot
Oh,
because
yes, I
I
think
went
I have
into
that one.
reading that. Yeah, I remember because you were on
The launch
a
of it or
reading.
something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right, that's right. Because I remember one of your comments was how it helped you feel validated. And I was like, now I went into it going, no, 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 this is wrong. This is all wrong. Everything's good. Everything has to be Christian. Everything has to be. I went in reading that with that mind mentality, but, oh, when I came out, it was, oh my good so that also
Mm.
was yeah, helped, like you said, that fluid, that portal that makes all those connections. Yes, yes.
Your contributions in school dance, the mental health awareness, challenge that you
Ah,
created for us, and the movement
yeah.
challenges, and the yoga classes,
Oh, that's good.
everything has felt very, yeah, very holistic, focused on our mind and our well-being
Mm,
overall. That is like a pillar of what you do in your research, or
mm.
how has that
Oh,
become such a
wow.
part of your work?
Well, that's a good question. Wow, that's a good question, because I think the mental health one, it happened to be Mental Health Awareness
Mhm, yes,
Month.
yes.
And I was thinking, and I think someone had posted, maybe it was you, had posted something about,
Oh, yes.
the importance of our mental health, and
Mhm.
and it was like, um, yeah, and I think I remember reading something about someone was talking about mental health as far as like rejection in dance. How does
Mm,
that affect your mental health when you audition and you're rejected um or you're told your size. I know some dancers have been told that, oh, was it Hope Boykin? She from Alvin Ailey. She talks about how many times she auditioned before she got accepted. And when she did finally get accepted, Judith Jameson told her, "We're going to take you this time, but understand we're going to have to adjust your costumes just because her body
wow.
style was different." And she's an amazing dancer. And when I saw her talk about that, I was like, "Oh, Boykin? Are you kidding?" But just imagine what that had to have done for her mental health. Keep showing up, even though she's been rejected. Keep showing up, and finally get accepted, but told, "Okay, but your body type is still problematic." Oh my goodness. So I kind of just took all of that and thought, man, this is important. Let's while we work on our physical health and movement and everything like that, make sure our mental health is just as stable, or like you said, holistic. So that's been important. And of course, yoga and strange things like you said about showing up. Gosh, forget how many years ago, man. Um, Okay, this has been a really long time ago. I always wanted to take yoga classes or something like that. Never had the budget for it. I always just saw it on television. And, I didn't grow up in a area where we did yoga or anything like that. And there was a yoga studio had just opened up, and they had an open house. So I was working a regular 9 to 5 office job. I get off work. I had on like khakis, polo shirt or something. And I show up, and I'm just standing there holding like a cup of water or something, and a quiche. I remember they had mini quiche, and I'm standing up against the wall, and this woman it's an open house. Woman goes up and she goes, "Are you one of Debbie?" That was the name of the owner. "Are you one of Debbie's teachers?" And I'm standing there going, "What?" And I'm thinking, "What made you think I was one of the teachers? I'm dressed like this. I'm up against. What makes you think I'm one of the teachers?" And sometimes later on, I was having that memory, and I was laughing, going, "That was so funny." And I just felt like something just injected in my spirit. She saw something in you. It was already there. She saw it in you. Um, and I went on the internet that night, that yoga studio, and another one that was up the street from where I lived, Butterfly Yoga. You remember Jackson? I said, "Hey, any way I could be a work trade apprentice? I can clean your floors, wash your blankets, or something for free yoga classes." And Butterfly Yoga responded and said, "I was just looking for a yoga apprentice." And so for a year, I did that. I did, data entry of new members or something like that. Every hour I worked, I got an hour of free yoga class. Um, just showing up and being inspired, and people will sometimes see stuff in you. So yeah, all of that, the yoga, the mental health, all of that is just kind of a pillar of things. And I think it's one of those things where it kind of creates who you are before you knew who you were. And so I look back and go, that's who I always was. I just wasn't in a place where I knew it. So I tapped into it later, but yeah, but I did eventually.
That's beautiful, and that's similar. I'm hearing similar things to what Mary Carroll shared. We sat down
Ah,
and chat last, and she shared
yeah.
similar things, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, about, um, taking classes in exchange at certain places, or maybe it was teaching in
Mm,
exchange for
mhm,
classes
mhm.
or something, but, yeah, just having the ability to show up and do that. That's funny,
Yeah.
I've been to butterfly yoga a couple of times, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, I think a lot of students did. I used to see Michael Morris up there and
Okay,
some
yes,
other students. Yeah, I think a lot of students went there. Yeah,
that's neat.
yeah.
All right. I think, just one more thing, and then
Okay.
I will let you go, as they say. But, and then, yes, if there's anything that you wanted to share in this chat too, feel free. But I did want to end on, as you move through your PhD program that you're in and
Yeah,
dream about opening this faith-based nonprofit organization, possibly,
yeah.
what is one meaningful way that the school dance community or anyone that's watching this video later can support you now or in the future? Are there
Mm.
things that we can do? Are there programs or somewhere we can follow
Ah.
you just to keep in touch and hear about any offers you have to share? How can we support you?
I guess just show up whenever whenever I have something, just show up. Even if it's just, online support, or just sharing something. Like if I share something, share it on your social media,
Mm,
post that to where other people can, maybe if we're not in the area, because I'm currently in Lubbock, Texas, and of course the state of Texas is huge. So there are
yeah.
people in Houston and other areas, and you never know, making those connections and sending that out somewhere may be, okay, I'm not in that area, but maybe if I share this on my social media, and someone else may be, oh, I'm close to that. Let me go check that out, or let me look online and see what I can do, see how I can be involved. It's a matter of trying to connect. Like I know when you were in Jackson, you were able to connect with the dancers at Greater Bethlehem Temple, right?
Yes.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and I just think different areas, because you were able to choreograph and do a lot of good work with them. Um, just different areas of where you go. Sometimes it's just sometimes more difficult to connect with the dance community there, and I
Mm,
am finding it a little difficult here. So I guess, yeah, share stuff, find stuff. If anyone knows any other dances in the Lubbock area or even New Mexico, because I found
okay.
out we're an hour and 45 minutes from some part of New Mexico, but from the New
Oh, that's
Mexico
not bad.
state line. I
Okay.
know, right? So if someone knows someone, well, maybe I'm not in Texas, but hey, right there on the border of New Mexico,
Yeah.
someone maybe closer, Amarillo, Texas is like 2 hours north or something. So, you never know, just from listening and talking to people, you may find someone who's, um, yeah, maybe in a closer area. I'm just trying to connect dancers and movers and,
Beautiful.
artists, yeah. So, yeah,
Yay.
yeah, thank you
And
for
you do
asking
that
that
so
too. That's
well.
very helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah, you're
you.
welcome. Well, thank you for coming on to chat, and, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and
You too. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
thank you, Robin.
holiday, I forgot. Thank you, thank
Yes,
you,
oh, yeah,
thank you.
Thanksgiving here
Yes.
in the US.
Yeah, yeah, for those who celebrate, I understand.
Right.
Okay, thank you, thank you.